releasing sample packs for the last 3 years, and during that time I've had samples make their way onto Billboard albums as well as some major lo-fi releases, all sorts of amazing independent music. And today I'm excited to announce the release of the very latest sample pack, which is Dreamy Lo-Fi Hip Hop Volume 2. So as always, it's going to have a free and a premium version, and to celebrate the release I'm going to be running another competition with some great prizes for first, second and third place, which I'll talk about a little bit later in the video. So the pack itself contains all sorts of useful tools for producers, so I've really tried to focus in on the elements of sample packs that I personally find really useful, as well as taking feedback from my years of making sample packs. So this one is really something special. So as always, the pack has got some really mellow, cinematic, lo-fi melodic loops with guitars, ukulele, acoustic and electric guitars, pianos, synths. It's really got everything blended into this one, with all sorts of different demos in different styles. And then on top of that, there's all sorts of useful textural loops that you can drop into your tracks to give them a little bit more depth and variance. That includes like Foley loops, percussive stuff, shaker, hi-hat, brush loops, as well as all those one-shots. So we've got some useful snares and transition sounds and all sorts of useful different textures to add into your beats. So I've really tried to cram as much value as I possibly can into this one, and I think it's got some real useful and unique sounds. So what I'm going to do now is just demonstrate everything that's in the packs, the full and the free version, and then I'll break down the competition, and finally I'll play through a demo of the sounds, which has got more or less all of the melodic sounds and a good range of the drums as well, so that will be happening at the end of the video. But yeah, for now I'll break down what's in the pack. So this is the full version of the pack. The free version is essentially the same, just slimmed down, which I'll break down in a minute. But for now, I'll break down everything that's included if you purchase the pack today. So it's got a similar sort of theme as the last pack. Really, my aim for this was to try and make it as useful as possible. I sort of thought about sounds that I'm always looking for and sounds that I really use. So it's got all sorts of textures and drum sounds, and then melodic stuff that I find to be really useful, and hopefully you will too. So starting off with the guitar loops. So as with the last sample pack, we've got the full samples, and then for each sample I've got the stems as well. So for this first one we've got a guitar, 3 different guitar stems and a synth layer. So these are all the stems, and then you can also get the full sample here as well if you just want to drop that in. And it's all got the BPM and the key. So this is the first one, which is electric guitar, and then we've got another electric guitar. This one's a little bit more moody. There's some sort of cinematic feel to some of these as well as a more sort of jazzy and laid back lo-fi feel. So this next one is a 2-5-1 progression. So all got the keys on there. That one's in D major. A few of them are in 3/4, just because that really suits the 2-5-1 style. But you can always mess with the stems and use them however you need to. More sort of electric guitar with some different textures. There's also this nylon guitar loop, which is actually based on a video I did a few weeks ago. I've got this acoustic guitar on a steel string as well. So all of them have got different sounds and textures to match with the sample. Sort of the more synthy version. And as I say, just go to the corresponding folder and you'll get the different stems to use however you need to. So I've got the guitar loops as well as some piano loops. This one's very cinematic. It's got a mix of electric piano, synths and acoustic pianos. Same situation, they've all got the BPM and the key, and you can go into the folder to get the stems. So all the stems are organized neatly like that. Again, a little bit more of a cinematic feel on some of these, with just general dark and moody lo-fi vibes. So yeah, a real different sort of range. Some of them have got a little bit of guitar texture as well, but they are all key based with maybe some guitar lead. But if you don't like the guitar lead, all stemmed out, so you can just use the elements that you do like. A bit more of a bright ambient feel, real dark moody feels, some like synthy feels as well. So I'm just trying to rush through these so you know everything that's in the pack. There'll also be a full demo at the end where I'm just playing through different sounds in the pack with the drums layered in and that sort of thing, so you can hear it in context. And then I've got some of the ambient sounds which I always add to my tracks. So this coffee shop atmos is one that I use a lot, as well as like a busy market sound. And there's just like a couple of different other sort of nature walk feel, and that one's more like a water vibe. Don't know. Yeah, typing might come in handy. Next up was, these are just sort of loops that didn't fit in the main guitar and the keys bit, but they could be quite useful. So that's like an arpeggiated piano, sort of choppy key effect, E piano run. This one was going to be one of the guitar loops, but I never used it, so I thought I'd drop it in here. And then we've got a kalimba loop with delay, as well as a ukulele loop. And then onto the drums. This was a section I really thought was important for me in the pack. It's something that I'm always looking for. It's just a great little loops and textures that you can drop onto tracks. So if you've got like a simple drum beat that's not sounding particularly interesting, just having these little loops of percussion and foley and shakers can just spice it up really nicely. So start off with the foley. So these are all sort of like wood crunching noises, foley sounds, just stuff that you can throw onto your track. Most of them are stereo, so they add some stereo width to the track as well. There's all sorts of different dark and interesting sounds. Everything here as well has been sort of pre-mixed, so I've cut out any of the sort of resonance and harsh frequencies, so it should fit nicely into your mix without any real sort of EQing needed. So yeah, lots of textures in the foley bit. I've got some hi-hat loops, some with brushes and different sounds like that. All pretty dry, just so you can add your own sort of reverbs to taste. So that's the hats, and then there's also loads of shaker loops. Different style shakers, that just add a little bit more of an organic feel to tracks, which is always really nice. So that's the loops. And then finally the other big bit is the one-shots. So I've added loads of different sort of faller, riser, transition sounds. And these I do love to use. They're just easy to throw onto a drop or a build-up, and it just helps move the track along smoothly. Loads of different one-shots, so different hi-hat sounds, just sort of typical lo-fi hi-hats. Some kicks. So the kicks I like to use are all sort of thumpy, subby kicks. So that's what I've added in there, because that's all I love to use. Loads of different snares. My favourite sounds in this pack are all the sort of wooden percussive sounds I've added in, because these are all I use for snares at the moment, just texturing a few different sounds like that. I've got some rim shots and some typical sort of muffled snare sounds. And then we've got all of these sort of really crunchy percussive sounds, which I love using at the moment, and I've used in all my recent tracks. Rather than just a typical snare, I love to have these, give it sort of this real organic crunchy feel. So these are all super useful. And then finally just some one-shot shakers. So that's that. And then lastly, there's just a couple of little vocal additions that I thought were nice to have. Stuff that you can throw in the background of a track, or you can throw it into like a sampler and play it as an instrument. Some like drone sounds, some vocal bits, and some effects I've added to these as well. And then a couple of sort of weird ones that may be of interest to some people. So yeah, that is the full version, and now I'll just break down the free version as well. So this is the free version, and the same as the full version, it's got all of the same folders, it's just got less of the individual elements. So if you go into the guitar loops, it's got 4 of the samples, but it's just not got the stems. But it's got the same samples, just less of them. Again, for the keys, it's got some samples. And then again, for the ambience, it's got 2 of those, as well as the typing. Some of the melodic loops are still there, so that could be a nice sort of E-piano run, or this could be incorporated into a track. And then again, drum loop wise, it's still got different loops in there, just less of them. But for each different element, there's a little taster of what is in the full pack. And they're all sort of royalty free in the free pack as well. The terms and conditions I'll show you in a second. And some more percussive loops in there as well. And then again, one shots, there's transitions. And just a few additions to each of the different packs. There's some kicks, snares, and yeah, everything's got a selection of some of the stuff that's in the full pack. So that's the free pack really. It's just a sort of trimmed down version of the full pack. The terms and conditions of use are the same, which you can read in the pack as well. Effectively, they're royalty free to use in your own compositions, with the only exclusion being that you can't copyright someone else for using the same sample, which has happened quite a lot in the past. So if you are using content ID systems, you've got to make sure that the sample is just not going to pick up other people who've used the same sample, because the rights are for you to use the sample, but you don't own the sample, so you can't stop other people from using it, if that makes sense. But yeah, you can read about that in the pack as well. But otherwise completely royalty free to post on Spotify or release with labels, or use in your own compositions on YouTube. So that is the pack breakdown. So now I'll just talk about the competition. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, there's going to be a competition to celebrate the release of the sample pack. And the competition is just to take any of the sounds from the free or the full version of the pack and make a track with it. So you've got to use one of the melodic sounds. It could be any of them. It could be the different stems if you've got the full version, or it could just be chopping up the sample itself. But you've got to use one of the melodic samples. Obviously great if you use the drum samples as well, but the focus is on the melodic stuff. And then use that to make a beat of any kind. It can be in sort of any genre that you like. The competition will be judged on the quality of the beats, how interesting they are, how creatively they use the sample. So yeah, there are 3 prizes. The top prize, you get to pick a pair of Aerodynamic headphones. So it could be the 770s or the 990s in the whichever own version that you like. And you will also get $30 worth of Submit Hub credits and $30 worth of credits to use on my store for merch or other sample packs. And then the second place prize will just get the $30 for the store, that's mondoloops.com, and $30 for Submit Hub credits. And then the third prize is $15 of Submit Hub credits and $15 to use on mondoloops.com store. So the competition will be judged by myself and some fellow guest judges from the lo-fi scene. So as I say, we're judging the beats on how creatively they use a sample, how interesting the track is, and how well produced they are. So there's really creative freedom to do whatever you want with it. And submissions are all through my Discord server. So if you're not in the Discord, I'll drop a link to it down in the description down below. And there'll be a submissions tab in the Discord server where you can send in your finished beats, ideally in the form of a SoundCloud link. And the deadline will be on the 13th of February. And the week after, the 20th, is when the winner will be announced. So when you join the Discord server, be sure to get the Beatmaker tag. That gives you access to the submissions for the competition. And it also gives you access to submitting music for the Spotify playlist that I have. One's at about 25,000 followers, and the other one is at around 3,000 followers, I think. So you can submit beats for that as well in the Discord if you want to join there. But yeah, I can't wait to hear the submissions that you guys put forward. But yeah, now I'm just going to play through the full demo without talking, so you can listen to some of the sounds. And you can get the free and the full version of the pack in the description down below. So yeah, here is the full demo of the sample pack.
Demo. demo,